Hey guys, it's Lesley Tao here and welcome back to my YouTube. Whoop whoop. Whoop whoop. Sorry, I've got all these crazy kung fu moves coming out now. So guys, this is part 2 of how I managed to build my 6-figure property business in the UK. Now, guys, if you've missed part 1, I will put the link in the description below, okay? But before I start, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you hit the notification button so that when my new content comes out, which is now on every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, you get to check it out. So I've got lots of cool stuff coming for you guys, especially how to work from home, because that's happening at the moment. But just to continue with my story, so where did I get up to? So I got scammed in Dubai, and I managed to recover most of the money back. So I had 10% that I couldn't recover back. So it's still quite a substantial amount, because bear in mind I was saving my salary bit by bit then, and that came from my own pocket. So by then, because I didn't have a lot of money and I wasn't confident to keep on raising deposit funds from family and friends, I had to have a look around to see what else I could do to make money. And I wanted it just to be in property, because in my heart I knew that property, if I knew what I was doing and I built up my experience, that I couldn't really lose out that much. Property's always been a sturdy investment. The only time where someone does lose out is when there's a crash or a recession and people are in negative equity. So as long as I knew what the risks were, or if you're stuck and you wanted to flip a property, or you're stuck in a bridging loan that's got its high interest, like 1% every month, that's usually when things go a little bit wrong. But I knew in my heart that there was other ways to make money from property. So I started looking at the subleasing strategy. So in England it's known as rent to rent, and so in a nutshell, guys, this is where me or my company rent a property from a landlord, and with their consent, so you got your contracts all wrapped up, so it's all both parties are protected. Then I sublease it out using various business models. So it could be serviced accommodation, which is short-term lets. It could be single lets on steroids, which I love, or it could be sort of HMOs, which is a house share rental model. And all of these rental models are great and they work well and they generate profit, so steady income. So I started doing that in Dubai. I built up my rent to rent portfolio quite fast. You don't need as much money compared to when you're buying a house. So I was able to get but I think, sorry, I'm just like, my memory's gone a little bit loopy now, but I think it was 5 units altogether in the end, and that was creating me about £2,000 each. So I was getting £2,000 net each, sorry. So that meant I was getting about £10,000 net. So I'm just trying to do conversions in my head from dirhams to pounds per month. So coupled with the buy-to-let tenancy income, this really allowed me to leave my job very easily, because I was financially independent. So I left my legal job with the Magic Circle firm Clifford Chance in 2013, and it was kind of like bittersweet, because obviously I was happy to leave because I just didn't know, I could go on and do that job forever really if I didn't get fired, but what would I have achieved, right? I honestly think that if I hadn't had left, I wouldn't have done so well in my business life. And I've learned so much, ups and downs. So it's not all been peachy and rosy, which is what you guys are discovering. So I didn't wake up one day going, hey, I'm churning out this 6-figure property business, and other businesses. So there were some foundations there, but I love the rent to rent strategy. It's very scalable. There's not a lot of money put into it compared to buying a property, but still it was work. It was a business, and I had a team in Dubai. I had a cleaning company, a small cleaning team, so shout out to them. Hope that you ladies are doing well. And I had my personal assistant, who also was my property manager, so she's excellent, and she's still working with Qual and Tree today, but she's doing a virtual role where she's looking after all our admin and our bookkeeping. So she's doing a fab job with that. So shout out to Mary Grace. Hope that you're doing well, chick. So that's how I built up the rent-to-rent business in Dubai. However, I decided that you know, it was time, enough was enough, and I had to come back to UK, mainly through some personal issues. So I was trying to get pregnant then, and I actually went through some very devastating miscarriages. And after everything that I'd gone through, so you guys, I explained, you know, most of it in part 1, you didn't think that there was more drama and more things to come, but hey, that's life. You never know what curveball the above or the universe is going to throw at you. So I thought I had like pretty thick skin then, I could weather myself for anything. But then I had a series of miscarriages, and to be honest, like now I could talk about it without tearing up, but it really knocked the wind out of me. And I actually feel like maybe I was a little bit depressed then, because I really didn't, you know, I had like gone for a bit of time where I just didn't want to get out of bed. It was so intense, and I was so sick of going to the hospital and having tests done, like there was something wrong with me. So when I came back for sort of Christmas at the end of 2017, and so it's end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I came back to the UK. And I actually decided I didn't want to go back to Dubai anymore. So my husband, so I had gotten married by then, by the way, guys, so all was cool. So my husband, poor Remy, had to go back to Dubai, and I was in England, and I was at my mum and dad's house, and I was back in my old room, and you know, just lying. I still remember like it was yesterday actually. I was just lying on my bed, I was staring up at the ceiling, twiddling my thumbs, thinking, okay, so what am I going to do now? What is Lesley Tao going to do? I'm like 30 something years old. It's you know, there's no way I'm going to be relying on my parents, you know, although they're always there and they're always so supportive to help. But you know, the reason why I was worried, guys, so maybe you're thinking, hey, but you've got £10,000 that's churning away from your rent-to-rent business in Dubai. The reason why I was worried, guys, is because when you move out of Dubai, so in Dubai, the rules and the laws are very different from the UK. You basically, in order to have a tenancy contract, you either need to have a company, okay, so it's like a company tenancy, or it's under your personal name. And in this instance, because I was moving back to UK, so my visa, so my residency and visa in Dubai was cancelled. And also I did have a business, but that was also closing down because of the move. So that meant that, you know, there's no base for us to get a tenancy contract in Dubai to do more rent to rent. And every year, so in Dubai you don't really do long leases, so every year you've got to renew that contract, and there's a whole process that, you know, needs to go through the government system called a JARI to get it renewed, blah blah blah. But basically, in a nutshell, it meant that, you know, we couldn't get out a valid tenancy contract in Dubai to keep on doing the rent to rent model there. So you know, so when I was in bed, I just decided to, you know, buckle up, and I was like, you know, rent to rent's worked for me. So if it worked in one country, you know, I want to know how I can make it work in England. So then I went and invested in myself. So I did invest quite a substantial sum in my own education. You know, I didn't just go on one course, I went on 2 sort of courses, had different mentors, and you know, I guess I took the best out of all of them, plus coupled with my experience in Dubai. I found it, to be honest, quite hard to initially secure a rent-to-rent property compared to Dubai, because in Dubai an agent would just do everything. So you could just go to him, tell him what you want to do, see what properties are available, and he'll do the work. But in Dubai I had to do like most of it myself. Well, all of it myself. So that was interesting. But I started my education in property, so the various creative and different strategies, which is very interesting in England, and I love it, in January. And I got the keys to 2 rent-to-rent properties in March. So March 2018 was a very significant month for me. I got the keys to a 3-bedroom house, and I turned that into a mini mo. So I created a 4th bedroom from the downstairs living room. And I also got the keys to a 2-bed apartment in the city centre of Cambridge. So with that one didn't need much work at all. Like but with the sort of mini mo, it was more expensive, costly for us. We spent at least £6,000 to £8,000 in there. We put fire doors on. We Also, by the way, also, although this particular one wasn't licensable, but you know, we did all the we did it up to a high standard, so you know, you get the fire alarm and the fire doors were all in, etc, etc. So so that costs definitely more. Whereas the a 2-bed apartment in the city centre of Cambridge, which we made into a service accommodation, we only paid about, I think it was £2 or £2.5 on furniture and a lick of paint, and that was it. And at that point, I'd never done service accommodation before, and I hadn't even done a course in service accommodation. So it was, you know, it was a new thing. So, but I didn't think it was going to be, you know, rocket science, you know. At that point, I think, you know, you've got to be creative and don't be scared to try out new things. So on the first month of operating, the mini Mo, so the now 4-bedroom house, gave us a net of about £800 a month after, you know, rent and bills were all paid. And that was already very good, because usually, you know, as a rule of thumb, we look at £500 net a month on a HMO, rent-to-rent HMO property. So that was already quite good, performing well. However, on the service accommodation unit, so the 2-bed apartment in the city centre of Cambridge, we generated net of £1,800. So that was after paying all bills and rent, etc. So, you know, that's sort of lit a bit of a light bulb for me, you know, light bulb moment to do, because I thought, guys, that based on the rent-to-rent HMO model, which is what I did in Dubai, I thought that I needed like 20 houses churning £500 net each to be able to replace my Dubai £10,000 net income from my rent-to-rent portfolio there. So now that, you know, seeing that with service accommodation, I could, you know, very easily double that income, you know, I kind of went down that route more. And I kept building up my rent-to-rent portfolio. So August 2019, we had another breakthrough. So a rent-to-rent operator in Cambridge was offloading their rent-to-rent portfolio. So what that meant was we were able to take on that portfolio, and basically that sort of tripled our portfolio. So now we've got about 50 units, but that also includes some owned units and commercial units that we manage for the family. So we've got about 50 that we, you know, manage as a business, and we have on a rent-to-rent basis. So that's why we're able to generate a 6-figure income. So that's our gross turnover. So back to my point with what this title is about, which is obviously when I came back from Dubai, I didn't have a credit history in the UK. I had been gone for so long, and I hadn't actively been using like any credit cards or bank accounts. So there was no activity. So I didn't have, you know, any credit. So how was I able to get, you know, properties, especially 2 by March? Well, one of the things that I did do was that I tackled landlords directly to get properties. And, you know, with landlords or with any people that I deal with in business, I always strike up a very personal relationship with them. So so I was able to get my first 2 deals, and most of my deals, to be honest, are direct to landlord. They're the best deals in my opinion. You can negotiate more attractive terms, and you know, in my case, they just asked for a reference, okay? And I wasn't new to property because I had managed property in Dubai, but you know, that was how I was able to get my first couple of units, and to be honest, most of my units when I came back to the UK, and that was having no credit history. 2 more tips I want to give you guys. I'm hoping this can help you build up your business as well into a 6-figure business. See the rent-to-rent business as running a business. So it's not an investment model that you can just hand over to an agency. You can hand over to an agency, but there are not a lot of agencies that are, you know, really, really good. So I think the coronavirus lockdown really demonstrated, for example, that a lot of SA agencies, so service accommodation agencies or management companies, might not fare that well. And the reason is because they are one-trick ponies. And what I mean by that is, they probably only know how to put your property on a short-term booking platform such as Airbnb and Booking.com, but when the market changes, they might not be well versed in other rental strategies. And I think just to know one rental strategy with what's happened now with the pandemic is definitely not enough. So if you are in the property management game, you need to up your game and make sure you are well versed in various rental strategies so that your business survives. So you've got to treat it as a business, guys. My last tip is, if you do have bad credit or you don't have a credit history, so if you're an expat and you've been away for a bit, you're looking to move back, do look to start building it back up. One of the easiest ways, and I did it like this as well, was, I got out a credit card and, I pay off my credit card in full every month. Creates credit history for me and a good credit history. So one of the things that you can do if you've got a bad credit history or report is to try and make it better. Download your Experian credit report and see what suggestions they give to, make your credit score better. I had like 1 month, I think it was about 3 months ago, where my credit score went down a little bit, and I was like, what's going on? It's not like I've been spending a lot. And it was purely because that one of my credit cards, so my Amex card, American Express, I was over the 90% usage, because usually I dump all the business expenses on there and then we pay it off at the end of the month or beginning of the month. So that was quite interesting, but I wouldn't have known that would have damaged my credit score had I not subscribed to one of the credit scoring agencies such as Experian, which is the one I use, because they flag it up and then they tell you why. So here are just some tips that I hope that those with bad credit history or no credit history at all will find useful, and how you can actually still turn a six-figure business even though you might not have the right credit history in place at this time. It doesn't mean that it's going to hinder you forever, but you need to work on it. And just to mention to you guys, like, this is not my property management company is not my only six-figure businesses. Using the sort of same mindset and disciplines on how to manage a business, I've built several other businesses that all have relatively high turnovers. Some are not six figures, but others are. So utilizing the same skill set and then implementing it in other businesses or other areas of your financial life is it's very, very helpful. So guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to be making some more videos of how I if this is of any interest to you guys, how I handle my finances, and I'll be more than happy to break down to you guys how I handle my personal finances, for example, on a month-to-month basis, and share with you guys how we were able to make loads of savings over coronavirus time, and what life changes we've made to save more money but still have the level of lifestyle that we enjoy as well. So if you're interested in those kind of things, or if there's anything you want me to review, drop me a comment below. Let me know what you guys want to see, and I will do my research and I will try things out. So let's make this more fun. So guys, if you've liked this video, please I would be so grateful if you can hit that like button, ding ding ding, and also make sure you're subscribed so you can see my other videos. All right, it's Lesley Tao here, and I'm checking out now. Lots of love. Bye.